Alright, welcome back. Let's get this car back together. 2001 Ford Escape, 2-liter engine. This is part 2, and this is where we're putting all these here rubber hoses and these metal lines back together on this thing. Alright, the first one on the list is this here coolant pipe that runs right in front of the engine. Part number, it's a Motorcraft, and there it is. For the assembly on this job, I'm going to be using super grease. That's going to be putting on the hoses, the metal tubes, just so everything will slide on a lot easier. Alright, that's one of them done. 8mm socket will fit that bolt. Okay, I'm going to work on this thermostat housing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here outlet off right here. There's 3 bolts, T25. So I've already got them loose to save us some time so you don't have to see bolts being turned. This is what it looks like. It's like more like a wood screw. Pull it off. There's the back of it. There's a thermostat. I'm going to take notice of how the thermostat is oriented in here. So I see there's a little tit up here on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here and I'm going to mark it. I'm going to mark that tit right here. That's going to be right up there. So you can see what I just did. That's probably going to be stuck in there. So let me see if I can just get it out. Not too bad. Just lift it out of there. Okay. There it is. Our thermostat. Okay. Also, if you remember, there's a square cut seal that's in the back of the thermostat housing that goes up next to the cylinder head. Alright, here's our thermostat housing. Okay, you can see it now. Here's a number, and here's the thermostat. The thermostat housing outlet. This is the square cut seal that's going to go from the back of the thermostat housing to the cylinder head. Here I'm using a Fel-Pro part. Now you can see it in there. And for that rubber seal that goes around the thermostat is a Motorcraft number, RG633. Alright, this is the old thermostat. I'm going to take this rubber seal off. And there's a groove that's up in the inside. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. Got to put a little bit of grease around this seal. Thermostat housing is oriented like this. And looking back at the other one, where I put the orientation on it, looks pretty darn good. So I'm going to leave it right there. And that's what I got wound up with. Now on this one right here, I didn't replace this hose right here, this here rubber nipple. So what I'm doing is I'm just transferring it from the other one. If you're doing the same thing, just be sure that you try to get your hose clamp in the same orientation, you know, as the way it was on there. Alright, I put the 3 screws back in here. You have to save and use the your old screws. New thermostat housing doesn't come with them. And you will be cutting new threads into the thermostat housing, so try to screw them in straight. I'm sure there's a torque setting for that, but with plastic I just rather do it by feel and just snug them up good. Now this right here, we're going to be taking this here square cut seal, and we're going to be putting it down in this groove here. Just got to put a little bit of super grease on here. Just thin film. And now we're going to put it back down inside this groove. And there she is. Alright, I'm going to put the thermostat housing on, so be sure to clean everything up here. I use brake clean, some Scotch-Brite. Be sure to also clean all the threads out. Take some compressed air, make sure you don't have any kind of liquid inside in there. 3-bolt stud goes on the bottom. I got a small amount of anti-seize on the threads of the bolts. A 10mm socket should handle that for these bolts. Try to do it evenly. Again, I'm sure there's a torque reading for these here, but I'm just going to snug them up. So this stud right here, if you remember, you had this here harness, this here cable, so just take him and plug them up, slide them right on. Alright, the coolant pipe that goes behind the catalytic converter is going to be next. See what his number is. Right there. That's a KM-4524. Alright, there is the coolant pipe that's going to be behind the catalytic converter. And we'll go up on the top side so you can see where it connects into the thermostat housing. Here is the rubber elbow that's on the end of that metal pipe, and it is going to the very bottom of this here thermostat housing. Next on the list is the hose that's going to go from the thermostat housing to the left side of the heater core. Let's see what our part number is. It is a, let him focus up a little bit. Motorcraft KH126. Okay, I've already transferred the sheathing and this here plastic conduit from the old hose to the new hose. Alright, the hose has now been installed, and now let's take a look at the other end, which is at the thermostat. And you can see here's the other end of it going to the thermostat housing, and you can see it's kind of snaking itself well back up in there. Alright, next is this here heater hose. This heater hose up here, this is going to be going to the right hand side on the heater core. This end down here is going to the engine oil cooler. It's on the top part. Part number for that is Motorcraft number KH-124. Okay, up on top of the engine oil cooler where we have the heater hose, we have the connection made there. And that's the other end of that hose on the right hand side of the heater coil. Next on the list is this coolant distribution housing. Let's see what the number is. Say Motorcraft number KM-4534. Alright, the distribution housing has been installed. And also, I put a worm hose clamp here on this here lower radiator where it connects to the lower radiator outlet. It's just hard to get to. And also, let me take you and swing you over there by the water pump inlet side where this hose up here connects to. If you look about right there in the center of your screen, you can see I put a worm hose clamp on that one also, just because it was really difficult to use those Corbin hose clamps up in there. Of course, that's where the one end of this hose off of that distribution housing connects to. That's over here to this metal line that's on the front of the engine. Next on the list is the upper radiator hose. Part number, Motorcraft KM-4533. Okay, the upper radiator hose has been installed. I use a worm hose clamp on this end and also on this end, just to make it a little easier to get to. Okay, the ignition coil pack is in place. As you remember, 3 T40 bolts will took care of that, and also to get to that very bottom bolt that's on the bottom, you'll find out a tool like this will get you right in there. Also, I'm going to go ahead and be putting this exhaust system back on here, so I'll catch you guys in the next shot once I get that done. Okay, we got the exhaust system back up. It's all done. Coolant's inside. It's been checked for leaks. In fact, this job has been over for about almost 2 weeks now, so all is good. I'm just taking the time now to wrap this video up and put a closure to it. And also, while I had the car here in the garage, I also went ahead and replaced the headlight assemblies. We had them, a little bit cloudy, so I went ahead and took care of that. Woohoo! So, this here job is wrapped up. I appreciate you guys watching. You take care. We'll see you in the next one.